Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
And we get the back view of him. And I mean, it's just a mega.
52 yards is a long shot. Magnum PI, what we named him. No idea.
Just a magnum.
Yeah, just a magnum.
Come on cam last year. We said probably 150, mid 150.
Yeah.
Same doe from the morning come out with that 9-pointer.
Here steps out this 90-inch 8-pointer. You're like,
I'm like, okay, well, there's still a buck back there grunting.
Yeah.
And then out steps like another 90-inch 8-pointer. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm like, deer, right there.
Yeah, like
and he's already
yards.
30 yards.
Yeah.
He was literally 5 yards from the base of the tree. Could have been, had a buck down at 1:40 in the afternoon, back there deep on public. 3 does come out pretty early. It was like 245, 24-yard shot, sent the combat veteran, and I tell you what, man, dude, it just smoked. We always get so jacked up when the other person kills. It's just almost like we got it done.
Yeah. And when you killed that doe, I was like, hell yeah, man.
And we come down here to Missouri.
I asked Comey one more time. I'm like, is it a good buck? And he goes, yeah, real good, solid buck. I'm like, all right, boom. And the deer just drops. Sure. Super special to me.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast, bringing you back to the hunt and leaving a legacy. Baller Rut.
This is the Whitetail Legacy Podcast. You've tuned in to one of the most mediocre podcasts on the airways. We're coming at you in your ear hole right now with another legend episode. Everybody loves them. People request them. We're talking to Jacob Miner, killed the number 4 recurve buck in Buckmasters. And what is weird is I'm not trying to find recurve kills. It's just everybody out there killing legends with a recurve. I don't know, like the last couple episodes have been recurve, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just scrolling and trying to find legends, you know what I mean? And I find the legends, and then I try to creep their page a little bit see how many other bucks they've killed. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, this guy's, he's got it going on. He's doing something. So, but yeah.
I mean, you got to kind of have it going on if you're out there with a damn recurve.
I asked him if he's going to go recurve this year. He's like, yeah, I don't even own anything else. I'm like, oh, this guy's full sin. So you guys are going to love this episode. Real solid. Jacob's super solid dude. Always on a giant. And bought that piece of land and just went full sin. So props to him for doing that. Let's get into the people that make this possible. We're going to start out with the VIP. We're going to talk about their social media. They have a new company running their social media, and they have picked up the game immensely. And if you guys want to engage on there, that'd be great. They're trying to get their social media up a little bit. It's something that they weren't focusing on a ton, and now they're putting a lot of effort into it. And social media takes a lot, man.
Yes,
it takes a lot to post and think up of, creative ways to get people engaged. So if you see a post, give it a heart, give it a comment. That'd be greatly appreciated by us. Do you have the VIP shout out?
Yeah, this week's shout out is also going to be a little different, coming at you different here the last couple weeks. I seen this post, and I'm friends with Tim Tudor, and we shouted him out earlier in the episodes for his service in the Marine Corps. But, I just wanted to kind of put everybody that's listening out there on notice. We talk about a great deal of, doing your due diligence of thanking these people that served for the country and, did something that, most people don't do and, sacrifice a great amount. And Tim went through the drive-thru at McDonald's, and there was a car next to him at the double drive-thru, and there was a 12 to 13-year-old girl in the back seat. And she's seen his license plate, which has, his Marine Corps symbol on it. And she waved at him. And then when he gets up there to pay for his food, the car in front had paid for his food. And it was the little girl who actually paid because the drive-thru lady was crying. And Tim's like, what the hell's going on? And so then he asked, well, okay, she paid for my food, but why? And then she said that she had seen the license plate and said that this 12 to 13-year-old girl's dad was also in the military, and he got deployed, but he didn't get to come home.
Oh, man.
So that hit Tim pretty hard, and he made a pretty big Facebook post about it. And by the time Tim, got his thoughts gathered and everything and pulled up to get his food, that card already, went off and got back on the interstate. But, it just goes to show just a little bit of courtesy can go a long way with these soldiers. And by Tim's Facebook post, it definitely hits home
that
with,
hits you
with some
for
people.
sure.
So, it was very emotional for him, and you can do a lot of good in the world. So get motivated and get out there and thank some of these veterans.
I like that shout out. All right, let's get to ECW calls, all your custom call needs. Roseville, Illinois, if you guys are local, go check him out. Shop's still open. He's making a lot of sales out of the shop. And I'm excited to see Jeff doing good.
Yeah.
Archer Shop's doing good. Jeff's a great guy, veteran, and makes a good product. Just a solid dude all around. But Exodus Trail, you didn't put the stuff up on that.
I didn't.
Yeah, I'm just full.
I thought you were ready
right
to
now.
rip.
Yeah, Exodus Trail Cams. We got the Exodus Trail Cam tip of the week, and this tip comes from, I've been seeing on social a lot of posts. I'm not getting any velvet bucks. I'm not getting any big deer on cam. And this is kind of like a two-part thing. And one, if you're not getting pics, move the cam 100 foot. Like, move the cam to the next trail. We did that on the private piece. No pics, no pics. I move it 100 feet, giant.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's all that takes is you got that cam there. You're only looking at one spot. So don't get discouraged in an area right away just because you ain't getting no pics there. You might want to go other side of the tree, next trail, next pinch, try something a little bit different. But I see people getting really discouraged already, and it's early. Sometimes, and the second part of this is the bucks might not be there yet.
No.
But in October, it might be awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't get discouraged. If you got the cameras and you think it's a good spot, let it soak. If not, move it around and try to get on something. Our season starts in October. I know the urge to get bucks on cam for other people if your season starts earlier, but it's crazy to me that people are getting like utterly discouraged because they're not getting giants on cam. And let's be honest, there's been times when we had nothing on cam. So you look at social media, you see the big, broad picture. It looks like everybody's killing deer in November, and everybody's got giants on cam.
Everybody's got belly.
But you're not seeing everybody that's not posting. So that's just for the people out there. Don't get discouraged. A lot of time left.
I mean, I could spend 5 minutes on this, but I just want to hit this real quick. And then when you do start getting consistent pictures, and it is getting closer to season, or they shed velvet, start bread trailing them, or if you can't kill them where the cam's at, or you're not gonna be able to sit there, start bread trailing them, and then that's when you move it around, and then,
that's what we do.
You can get
we always run edge and then try to bread trail back.
Yeah, get back.
Yeah, and then we always, most of the time we hit the fence.
You
you can't go any further, but
yep.
But at least you get an idea of the trail he's using. But yep, that's Exodus Trail Cam of the week. Don't get discouraged. You got something?
Yeah, I was just gonna rip out Ingram.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so this week for Ingram's Outdoor Obsessions, I'm unsure of how I'm going to get Sunshine mounted. He's on the waiting dock, but I was set on one style of mount, but I'm going to have to go up there and look at the book. And that's one thing I like about Chris is you can go up there and he's not kind of pushing you into doing something different or something
mold.
that he wants you. Yeah. Something easy for him or something different that he wants to try or something. He's going to let you be able to do what you want to do, and regardless of it's, his 1,000th head that he's done. And that's something that is very calming and soothing when you're in there. Is give you plenty of time, give you the book of the molds that he's got, and let you decide what you want and not pressure you into something that you're going to end up disliking.
Yeah, because once you got it for life.
Right.
So you're stuck. So all right, man, let's get into the show. All right, we got Jacob Miner on the line. Killed an absolute legend, recurve bow, number 4, right, for Buckmasters?
Yeah, had a guy come over last night, and after he got done, Buckmasters is kind of goofy. All they do is a gross score. They don't do any deductions. But they still have 2 numbers. So what they do is they just 1 number is without a spread, if you don't know, and then and then they have your gross score. So he was 165 and 7/8 with no spread, and 188 and an eighth with the spread. So
yeah, we need to have somebody on here and like literally go through the difference of BTR and Booner, because the shit just
it's hard to keep up with.
I'm not picking up on it. That's all I say.
I know it's really goofy. Like if you paid attention to like Pope and Young and Boone and Crockett, they kind of change hand in hand because they both have a gross score and a net score. But Buckmasters is like the renegade of scoring systems. They're just like, if they can grow it, you can score it. So that's kind of cool. I like that ideology because nets are for fishing.
Yeah, it's definitely a good, rule of thumb, and that's what kind of, your normal guy I feel like goes by. But it's just like, you'd be like, yeah, it's probably a solid 135 buck, and then you look at the score, it's a 163. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's hard to add them up with the BTR.
Yeah, I would say you just don't know.
All right, man. Well, introduce yourself to the listeners a little bit. Let them know a little bit about you.
So I live in Ankeny, Iowa. This is kind of like right smack dab in the middle of the state, just kind of north of Des Moines. And I grew up hunting traditional archery, and then I think I was a sophomore in college, I bought my first compound. I got a Matthews Outback and shot that thing lights out for a while, and then really didn't do much with the trad until would have been the spring of last year. Me and my buddy Colton, who I do some filming with, we went on a turkey hunt, and we actually killed a triple one morning. He killed two, and I killed one out of the same blind in like 10 minutes. It was crazy. And then from that point forward, I was like, hey, this reminds me of my childhood. This is cool. I want to do this again. And we kind of made a pact between three of us. Kyle Ransom's our other buddy, and we are 100% trad only now. So we kind of made that pact at the beginning of the season, and I'm glad we stuck with it. But so I've grown up hunting all my life. My dad was a diehard trad bow hunter. My grandpa was. He actually killed the first deer in Greene County, Iowa, when he was 25, recorded since primitive times. I think it was in the first actual legal season. So that's kind of back when, and believe it or not, in Iowa, when seeing a deer would be like seeing a bobcat. You know they're there, but you just never see them. So it's in my blood. I've been around it my whole life, and I don't know, just can't get away from it. I'm glad it encompasses everything I do pretty much. So
I feel like being trad, like you got to be all in or all out. You just can't be kind of messing around here and there. You're just not gonna be able to hone your skills as good as what you need to, I feel like.
Yeah, you got to commit 110%. I mean, killing. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not one of those guys that's gonna, bash on a compound hunter or anything like that. It doesn't matter what you do. You got to be 110%. But yeah, trad is. You really got to trust yourself, because at the end of the day, there's nothing to help you there. It's just you looking down that arrow shaft and trusting your ability to put that arrow where you're looking. It's a fun feeling. It's really free. It's a really free feeling. So
yeah, I bet you it's super satisfying when you just smoke it in there. You know what I mean? You're like, when you get to the point where you can just lay them in there, you're like, oh man, because I feel like it would be like you said, it'd be freeing, because you're trying to hold that pin on a compound so hard. You're holding that pin, and on a recurve, you're like, this feels right. You know what I mean?
You just let it go. When your mind is like, okay, that's where it's got to be, and then before you know it, you're watching that arrow disappear. Behind the shoulder of a deer, or in where you're looking at a target, and it is cool. It's very simple. I guess that's the best word I can think for it. It makes it it just simplifies everything. It's just it feels very natural.
Yeah, you definitely don't have to worry about like, oh, what side am I gonna run, what rest or stabilizer, or what release am I gonna use this year. It's just like, here's my bow and arrow, my broad, I'm ready to rip. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's my stick of wood.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But just like you said, man, like, I mean, you're the one at the end of the day who's going to have to go home and try to go to bed at night and live with whatever you did if you didn't make a good shot, you know, because you're not 100% confident in your ability. I mean, that's on you. So, I mean.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's spot on. Absolutely. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I shot a compound, I could live with myself if I messed up, but if the equipment failed on me, I was beside myself. I don't know if you guys have ever been in that situation where you've been out in the field and you've had a D loop come undone, or a rest that isn't timed, you know, that's not dropping away fast enough, or whatever, something loose on your sight, you know, whatever it is. Like that stuff just drives the guy AWOL, and it's like hard to handle.
Yeah, I've had loose sights, but we shoot biscuits, man.
Yeah.
Can't mess up a biscuit. Shoot biscuits and eat biscuits, you know what I mean? Yeah, that snack thing you put out there, no Star Crunch. What the heck is that on your social, man? I don't think I can make it through November without a Star Crunch. I'm just telling you right now.
Dude, I ate so many of those when I was a kid. Don't get me wrong, I could eat them, but man, those nutty bars. Oh my gosh.
Nutty bars are solid.
Solid. Me and homie eat so good, and then November hits. Look out, dude. Look out. Nothing but carbs and sugar get me through this day.
Yeah. I just count on like my body. I just count on my body having to keep me so warm during the rut that it's just burning more calories than I'm eating.
Homie eats a ham sandwich every day of the week, though. I'm like, a ham sandwich, man? Come on, you got to step out the box a little bit. I'm taking like buffalo chicken out there. I'm like, every deer for 3 miles is going to smell me. But I'm eating buffalo chicken sandwich. You know what I mean? Homie's got ham and cheese. I'm like, man, you're not even living right now. I got buffalo chicken over here.
Yeah, one of the times we seldom ate at the same time, I look down and Cody's just down there just looking happy as shit, just munching on this buffalo chicken. I'm like, oh man, that kind of looks good. I need to step up my game.
Yeah.
If you're pulling Tupperware out of your hunting pack when it's time to eat, you are something serious.
He has multiple bins of Tupperware. I mean, he is stacked.
I'm stacked, man.
He's the right guy to go hunting with if your snack game is weak.
I'm like, you need any of this? I got plenty, man. I got enough peanuts for 6 guys. Peanuts are like whole shell peanuts. They got to be in the shell.
But
you got multiple pluses. They taste delicious. You got a wind checker. You crush that shell a little bit, the dust just floats right through there. You're like, oh, man, I don't even need.
But who doesn't just put the whole peanut in their mouth? The outer shell, everything. Just crack
I'm not
it with
even
your
going to
mouth.
answer that. The beginning of this was gay. Jesus Christ.
Wow, this really escalated.
Who doesn't put the whole nuts in your mouth right up the rib?
Oh, wow.
He set himself up.
Didn't even
think.
He didn't even think that was coming. I mean, who doesn't just grab the 2 shells and just chuck them right in your mouth? They go down your throat. It ain't a big deal. My God.
No.
Oh my. We're R-rated right here. All right, homie. I'm sorry, man. You really? Yeah. It was his fault. All right, but yeah. No, I'm not gonna say. Yeah. The salt off the shells is decent. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to say. Not going to say it's suck on the nuts like you're going to say.
Yeah, don't.
All right,
you're buying the extra. Which one do you, hold on, before we deviate away from this, which one's buying the extra salty one?
I don't know. I'm the only one that's buying peanuts.
Well, Cody doesn't even put the whole thing in his mouth.
No, I crack them, man. I like to get the wind checker, you know. I crack them. I sound like a squirrel up there. It's pluses. Everything's a plus.
It's all nature.
It's natural sound.
If I want to feed a possum that rolls by, chuck him a couple nuts. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bonus.
Now you're baiting possums not the ground sent you.
Yeah. Like,
No, but It's just cover sound. You get them possums and raccoons around. Deer used to that.
Yeah. They're solid. They love peanuts.
Oh,
All right,
man, that was a good laugh.
We're getting into the whitetail cotton. Someone done turned this thing off. They're like, oh my God, what am I listening to? All right. You killed a buck called Full Circle, an absolute awesome deer, man. Love the color of that deer, and props to you for taking some super solid picks, man. I love it when a guy takes real solid picks.
That was actually, I've got a good friend that he has his own show going on. It's called Wildest Dreams TV, and he's actually not very far away from me, about 10 miles north of me, and he is very good behind a camera lens. So we kind of trade back and forth. Whenever we each kill a deer, we take pictures and do what we got to do, but he's a super solid dude, awesome guy.
That's good.
So,
when you get those pictures, man, it just serves the story so well. And I wish I had good pictures of every buck I've ever killed. You know what I mean? But you just don't. When you're young, you're like, get in the truck.
Yeah,
we gotta go.
Yeah,
get it to the locker. Let's go.
Grip and grin. Let's do it.
Yeah, take the cell phone click on the flip phone
on the Nokia.
Yeah,
the BlackBerry.
Holy shit!
The old black. I had one of those where you try and hit one letter, but
the letters are so small on that thing, man.
And then the numbers was even smaller because it was just on 9 keys.
Oh my gosh!
All right,
they took a keyboard and just shrunk it down and here, call people with
exactly
it.
what they did. They're like, all right, we'll just put a keyboard on here. People used to that. They feel comforted.
The space key is the only thing that's regular size.
All right, well, you killed a buck named Full Circle, and we're gonna do a legend episode here, and let's just get into the story of the hunt, man.
Cool. So it all started last summer. We bought this farm. I think we actually looked at it, walked it in July, and then I just did some research, called a few people in the surrounding area. I knew some of the guys that were down there already, so I knew it was a pretty good area. And so after I did a little homework, I just decided let's throw in an offer. So we did, and we went through that whole process. And if you've never bought, if the viewers have never bought a piece of land, it is the most aggravating, most rewarding process there is out there. It's just like, once you put in the offer, and then it goes to the attorneys, and I won't get into all of it, but once they start doing their homework and putting everything together, it's just like you're sitting there in the background as the purchaser, and you're like, all right, boy, we're a month out from October. What's going on? You're like looking at the watch that you don't wear, trying to figure out when this is going to happen. But so we closed on it. We actually didn't close on it till October 10th, but we were able to get early possession, put a couple green plots in, and I didn't really want to get aggressive because I didn't know how the deer used it. I ran a few cameras on it, and just kind of on the edges, I didn't want to intrude, because if there was a good buck that called that place home, a good mature buck, I didn't want to push him out. So I didn't want to get too crazy with it. But so we just had a couple green plots on the north and south side of the farm, kept our intrusion very low, hunted more of our permission properties, really, than we even did that farm. And we just really didn't get pictures of much. EHD just rocked us this late summer. We went from where I'm at in Iowa, in Monroe County, was one of the highest deer density areas around. And of course, when EHD hits an area like that, it just absolutely decimates it. And we lost gobs of does and young bucks. But surprisingly, we didn't lose a lot of mature bucks, which was weird, because usually when EHD hits, you lose your older class of deer. So it was kind of weird. It was what I was told. It was like two different strains of it. So I didn't look into that a bunch, but either way, we lost a ton of deer. And so we took a hunting vacation late October into the first week of November, and I pretty much just filmed my girlfriend try and kill her first buck, and she ended up getting that done on our last morning, which was cool. He came into about 30 yards, and she put a quartering away shot on him, and it was pretty crazy. I've never seen a deer get shot like that in the boiler room, and the deer literally took 5 steps and just piled up. So she literally hit everything. But so that was cool, and kind of the highlight of my season. And at that point, we still hadn't got any pictures of anything, so I just kind of waiting around to get something good. And I did an all-day sit. Oh, it was the middle of November, I think around like the 13th or 14th. I sat all day and didn't see much. Seen a pretty good 3-year-old chasing some does around on our farm that we had purchased. And that was about it. And I thought, well, I'm going to get curious. I'm going to walk in a little further. So I climbed down and got up on top of our ridge in the northwest corner of the farm, and it was just loaded with sign. There were scrapes there in the timber. There were rubs all over the place. And our creek, as it runs through the bottom of our timber draw there, it's real thick and nasty, and there's lots of blowovers. And I noticed in this one spot where our ridge bottlenecked into the neighbor's property, which is nothing but a giant, just overgrown cattle pasture, it really pinched them down. And I don't know about you guys, but have you guys ever noticed that when mature bucks will walk the sides of ridges in the daylight before they'll walk the top? Have you guys ever seen that?
Yeah, I have, and I've kind of had my best hunting after I set up like that. Set a stand up there 3 years ago, and it's been some of the best hunting that I've ever had in my life, is just banking on that, quarter to eighth the way down off the top of that ridge.
Yeah, that's kind of my ideology when I walked in there. There were big main trails obviously on the top of the ridge, and then there's always a pretty good trail, along the top side of a creek. And then they'll pick, you guys have seen it before, and I know a lot of our viewers have. They'll pick a spot in the creek that's easy to cross. Well, this certain run of the creek was just so steep they just didn't want to mess with it. So after seeing all that sign, I came back a week later. I skated off early from work and drove down there, hung this set in the afternoon, tried to be as set free as I could and as quiet as I could, and hung a double set. And it was absolutely perfect. It was on the side of my ridge. I had a faint trail that was like 10 yards out in front of the stand. I cut down one tree out in front of me, one small 3-inch round tree probably. Gave me a great shooting lane. And I figured with all that nasty blowovers, and I knew all the sign was upwind of this tree, I was like, man, this is like the perfect calling situation. If I can paint the picture, especially to a mature buck late in the rut like it was, because this was when I set this double set, it was November 22nd. So we're down to crunch time because Iowa's shotgun season starts December 3rd. So I was sweating it a little bit by this point. But so I set this double set, and everything was just perfect. All the activity was upwind of the tree. I knew that if I called to a mature buck and he was in the general area, he was obviously going to cruise down the side of this ridge so he could see over the top. He could see everything down below him. And with a southwest wind, it was going to be blowing across his nose, and it was going to be blowing across my face. So it was absolutely perfect. And we climbed in the tree that morning, and this is kind of where it gets a little crazy. To this point, I had no idea that this deer existed. I just knew that there was a mature buck in the area that was ripping up my trees on that ridge and working this scrape. And at some point, I figured, with EHD, low doe numbers, that they were really, if there were some big mature bucks left last year, they were really going to have to get on their feet and look. So we got in the tree that morning, and my cell cam goes off. And it's, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the new Cuddy Link system, but it sends pictures an hour ahead of when it takes them. So like if you get pictures at 6, you'll get them on your phone at 7. And we were sitting in that tree at 7 a.m. waiting for the sun to come up, and my cell cam goes off, and I get a picture at 6:10, and it's of this deer working my scrape tree in my north food plot, which would have been 300 yards to the east of us where we were sitting that morning. So by the grace of God, walking in, we were still 20 minutes away from the farm, 10 or 20 minutes away from the farm at that point. We didn't blow him out of there. So a little bit of luck, but our access was pretty solid. Anyway, so we're in there, that picture goes off, and it's like, okay, here we go. Now we're talking. This is what we had our fingers crossed the entire year for, buying your farm and doing all the little bit of work we did and stuff. It was pretty uplifting to see that picture. So I let out a rattling sequence when I got light enough, and I had a small 2-year-old buck just come flashing through. I let him pass through, and I looked at Nicolette about 20 minutes later. I'm like, I'm going to call again, just to, see what we can draw in. We got nothing to lose. We plan to sit all day, all weekend anyway, so I think we had more snacks and food in our backpack for that day than we did, like, anything we needed for hunting, to be quite honest with you. Like, the camera barely fit in the backpack because we had so much shit in there. But
been there.
So I called again. Yeah. If you go to your stand without food, you're
done.
Something's wrong with you. You ain't making it.
You're not making it past 11.
No, you're gonna eat your hand. But so I did that second calling sequence, and that same 2-year-old come racing through, but this time his demeanor was totally different. He was looking over his shoulder. He was flicking his tail constantly. He was even changing sides. He'd look over his shoulder one way, and then he'd flip clear back around, and he'd look over the other way. And you could tell that there was something behind him, and something had his attention awful bad. Well, about that time, I heard sticks breaking and leaves shuffling, and it was like he wasn't even picking up his feet. It was just nuts. And then he let out that deep, throaty, that lateral grunt that is just unmistakable of a mature deer. Like, you can't even make that sound with a grunt call. There is no grunt call in the market that will make that sound. You guys know what I'm talking about, that one that just makes your hair stand up on the back of your neck.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
It's like right from his gut.
Yeah. You're like, oh, boy, game on. This shit's getting serious. But we can't even see him. And finally he breaks cover as he's coming through, and he's just working this faint trail perfect, and it just was like everything I envisioned that would happen that morning. I knew, like, it's like a mature buck is going to come walking through this ridge. This is where it's going to be. Just never thought that it would be the class of deer that it was. And he come and he finally showed himself enough to where I could see, and all I could see was mass and just how he just the spread and how he just went clear out past his ears, and that giant dark colored wide forehead and how blocky his head was. And instantly I'm like, yep, this is a big deer. After that, I was just like, okay, kill mode, don't mess this up. And he stopped probably 15 yards away from the tree and did what big old mature bucks do. He just surveyed everything. He just looked everything over, and I'm like, okay, just keep walking, buddy. All you got to do, find it. Find that fight, keep walking. And sure as shit, he put his nose down, put his head back up, and he walked on a beeline. I drew back, anchored, stopped him, and as soon as I stopped him, that arrow was gone and hit him in the heart, and he went 80 yards and fell over, and that was it.
Damn.
Nice, man. I love it when you're out there and you get a cell cam pick. There's nothing, no better feeling that you're like, okay, I'm in the game. There's something close.
You're talking if it's close to you.
Yeah.
Not if you're,
Yeah, not if you're not at home. You're at home and you get a cell phone pick. But yeah, if you're in the you're in the stand and you get a cell phone pick, man, that's primo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was cool.
I don't think I've ever heard a buck grunt before I seen him. Like that would just be. That would be like that
You
would
did
be
last year.
no that
The little bucks.
no, they were 15 yards from the tree.
Not when they were in the brush back there. Remember, because we thought it was chaos
yeah,
coming.
yeah.
You did. You never heard like.
No, yeah, I guess
that
180.
That little
grunt.
bark, bark, bark. That's what we always hear. That little
Yeah.
bark.
Just that tending. I'm on you. But yeah, and
Oh, dude.
that's what I always say. Like while we're turkey hunting, like you hear a turkey gobbling, just boom, you know damn near right where he's at. But we're just like, dude, if you could just know where your number one hit list is at, burp. Oh yeah, he's right there. All right, he's 60 yards. He's coming.
Yeah, when you hear that certain sound, it's just low and guttural, and it really does. It makes the hair just stand up on the back of your neck, and you're just like, man, there is only one class of deer that can make that sound, and especially like in our situation when we couldn't see him yet, like it's like my head was on a swivel. I just immediately turned in that direction, and I looked at Nicolette, and you can hear it in the footage because we film everything. That, if the listeners are interested, Deer Society will have this hunt. They're in the process of editing it now, so I'm not sure when it'll drop, but you can check it out there. But anyway, when you hear that sound, and I looked at her and I was like, there's a mature buck coming. I don't know how big he is, but there's a big buck coming. And I just told her, I was like, you got to get ready. And she swung that camera around, and it's just that sound that it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, we were back on November, and we heard some grunting, and you hear that bark, bark, but then we heard that bark, and then a little bit of fighting. I was like, there's something over there, and then what was it? A couple minutes later, that real solid 8-pointer. I was like, yeah, that was him. Yeah, but he completely skirted all the way around us. Got a fire pinch in the rut. You're like, oh, yeah, coming right through here. Now I'm going to run over this 80-foot hill, jump off this cliff, swim across this creek. I'm 150 yards away, bro. You should have set up on that trail. That's my faint rut trail right there.
My face.
Yeah. We're like, what did that deer just do to get over there?
Just think if
just James Bond stuff.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Just think if Magnum was grunting on the other side of that knoll before we seen it. We'd be like, holy shit, like something's about to come out.
Well, I seen him, so.
Well, yeah. I guess I need to get up there and look at what you could actually see over there.
That's why I think that I've almost come to the conclusion. I've killed my two biggest deer have come in the latter part of the rut, like after November 20th, and I don't know about you guys, but it just seems like they're so much more predictable rut-wise the later you get into the season, and I think it's because obviously they kind of shift back to a little bit more of a pattern because there aren't so many does still cycling. So from now on, I've made the decision that when I take my vacation, it's going to be, that week prior to Thanksgiving.
I've seen the biggest deer on that Thanksgiving weekend out of the stand.
Absolutely. I think there's so much more working in your favor. Yeah. The rut's cool. You get to see a lot of deer. You get to see a lot of chasing. Especially if you sit all day, you sit all day on November 5th, if the weather conditions are right, or November 2nd, or whatever it may be. If the weather conditions are right and you're in an area that's got a good buck to doe ratio, you're on pins and needles the entire day. Whether or not you see something that you want to shoot is another aspect to it, but you're going to have a great hunt. It's going to be enjoyable, You're not going to get bored with that.
Yeah, I feel like the rut, like November 9th, you could literally be sitting there, and in 30 seconds, it's go time. In October, buck's feeding, he's coming in, and it's like you got to shoot in 30 seconds. You see the buck, you got 25 seconds to get it to happen. You know what I mean? So you got to be like, in October, you're like, okay, he might be bedding in here. He's going to cruise out. It's just slower pace, you know what I mean? But like you said, during that. But yeah, the later rut, every deer that I have seen that's a giant, it's been with a yearling doe. every single one of them has been on a yearling doe. So I feel like if you know where there's a couple yearling does, it's not a bad spot to set up.
No, and that would be if you like, that would all go back to your trail cam and intel. If you've got some, if you got some does with that had some early fawns, oh man,
yeah.
If you can remember that, if you can remember a fawn or a farm where you've had some fawns that are early, then that could be a seriously good spot come late November.
Yeah, that's where I've seen the two biggest deer out there is same fawn. I think it's the same doe. Two fawns, both does. I think homie killed her though. with a shotgun when we lost the property.
Yeah.
But I killed one of the fawns. But anyway, she always had.
To do. They're so delicious.
Yeah, I killed it late season. I let it grow all year. I made sure that it had a giant fetus in it, and then I killed it.
I guess I did kill that one before you did.
Yeah.
And anti-hunting groups coming over.
Oh yeah. I made sure that there's a giant buck inside of that before I murdered it.
Yeah, but the one with freeze babies in it was December 28th or 9th.
Yeah, homie killed one real late, December 28th. But we pretty much wiped out a doe family group before we left that property. But there was a doe that always had 2 fawns early, like every year, and I would focus on them. And then I think you ended up shooting them. There was 2 deer, 2 fawns with her, and homie ended up shooting her. But there always would be a giant with one of those fawns that Thanksgiving weekend. I was like, I could bank on it.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 of them were visual sightings, and one was trail cam sighting coming in the same area, coming right off their freaking magnums. I'm talking, 180 class deer.
Well, and they were bedding where we thought Freeze was bedding at.
Yeah, and they're bedding in the same area, and that's something that we're learning that these deer, they're bedding, those bucks are moving their beds, and they're bedding real close to those doe bedding areas during the rut. And that's why I feel like they got that lone doe. It's one of the last does that's not bred. They're going to hold on to her tight, you know what I mean? Because it's the last piece they're going to get all year, you know what I mean?
I feel like that's when they really, seclude them and, like you see them, really push them and get them bed down in some thick cover and then literally run the bucks off. Seen it on Midwest Whitetail a couple times. I feel like that's when that really happens.
Yeah, they just, I wouldn't say they get dumb in the later part of November, but they get a lot more lackadaisical.
They get desperate.
They do. Yeah, they all of a sudden going to bed at 9 o'clock in the morning isn't a big deal to them anymore, especially if they've been up all night cruising, just looking and looking and looking.
Yeah,
and like they lose track of time, almost is what it seems like that late in the rut.
Yeah, they're just worried about going
down
wherever that doe goes. The one that I had the encounter with ran across 600 acres or 600 yards of open field behind a yearling doe. And never daylighted on trail cam, never seen him daylight in 2 years. And then, boom, he's daylight after 600 yards of open. So he ran across 600 yards open field in the daylight with a yearling doe.
And he probably had no idea. He's like, here it is, last piece, I'm after it.
Yeah, he didn't have a care in the world when he hopped the fence. If I could shoot better.
He said hop the fence.
He'd be done. That was before I hunted high fence.
All right. Well, this was a high fence.
Yeah. You kill a 193. You kill a 193. You get enough high fence comments to kill a horse.
Oh my God!
Every day of my life, if I don't get a high fence or a gun comment, it hasn't been a good day.
I've had 2 comments. One of them was, and these are funny. One of them was, you probably shot that with a muzzleloader, and the other one was, most likely you killed that with a compound, but hey, the stick bow's pretty cool. I'm like,
wow.
I was confused on the last one. I'm like, is that a compliment? Or
I'm not real sure what you're trying to do here, but I don't like it. I told homie, I said, all right, what we're going to do, we're going to shoot a deer, and then we're going to drag my kayak out in the middle of a cornfield, and we're going to take a picture of the deer in the kayak and just not say that we didn't shoot it in a kayak, and then we'll get hella likes on Instagram.
It was a wet year, and the farmer didn't replant his.
Yeah, I mean, we
right.
kayaked across that field. You should have seen us.
Like we just had the boat on standby in case it flooded.
Yeah.
So might as well take a pic with
If there's a boat and a buck, hella likes on
Shit
that thing.
is blowing.
Shit's blowing up.
The water table in this area is crazy.
Dry
Yeah.
pit cornfield. There's a kayak out there with a boat with a buck just draped across it. I'm gonna be in there with a gun.
That's awesome.
Dude, it's got to be like a 45-inch six-pointer.
Yeah, it's gonna be epic. But yeah, I said we need to do it.
He's wearing orange. It's legit.
Yeah.
Can't eat the horns.
Yeah, no orange hat.
Not a hat, though.
No orange hat. I got a kick to the
No
no
orange
orange hat. Get a lot of comments about that. I shoot a giant. My hat's off in 3 seconds. You know what I mean? It's a beanie. I'm sweating bullets right now. You know what I mean? The hat's probably still in the timber.
At that point, I've chucked my bow 30 yards.
Yeah. I mean, it's over. Like anything close to is.
The funny thing is 20 minutes we've been sitting there, been all loud and shit. Cody's like, these neighbors are going to be like, I don't know what's going on over there. Somebody just shot Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. It's like 9:40 in the morning, 9:50 in the morning. I'm like, there's hunters still out there.
Yeah.
And I'm just screaming at the top of my lungs. I shot Mr.
Somebody get
Freeze.
beat up over there?
They're like,
Yeah, right?
someone's getting murdered over there. I'm not sure what's going on.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Freeze is not in a good
Heard
spot.
2
right now.
gunshots and shit went crazy.
There's a high school volleyball team over there.
Yeah,
What's going
yeah,
on?
that's
This guy's watching Batman on a repeat. Just keeps killing Mr. Freeze.
Hey.
I don't know what's going on. Oh.
That's a good program.
Yeah, I mean, you can't beat that.
no.
No, I love that.
This is going off the Richter real quick. Makes for-
Yeah, we sidetracked. That's okay though.
So do you ever feel like you're limited being out there with a recurve, or is it just a totally different mindset of like you just going into it, you know what you can do and what you can't do, and what you can't do, you can't do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I think actually going back, so hunting with a compound and then starting traditional, hunting with a compound and then switching back to the recurve, I think is actually kind of opened my eyes a little bit, because I kind of have the thought process of, okay, when you hunt with a compound, I'm sure you guys have thought like this before, when you're setting a stand or you're putting up a blind or whatever it may be, you think, okay, what if I have to shoot 40 yards? Where's this going to work if I have to reach out and poke one?
Yeah.
Whereas now, hunting with traditional equipment, my effective range is 20 yards. So I'm thinking, what if I got to shoot 20 yards? What if I got to shoot 15? What if I got to shoot 1/4 away at 18 yards? Something goofy. And it's made me pick up more on the small details, the more fainter trails. It's made me pay way more attention to areas that deer don't use. Crosswinds are awesome. I mean, if you can get a bottleneck situation on a trail that's faint, that's close, 10 yards and closer, and you can get the wind coming off both your noses. Oh man, what a slam dunk place to be, And it's just really not so much the limitation of not being able to shoot that 40-yard number or that 30-yard number. It's made me be more detail oriented, and I think I would like to see compound guys, regardless, think the same thing too. Instead of thinking, okay, what if I have to shoot 40? Well, what if I have to shoot 20? Because I don't know about you guys, but most of the deer I killed with a compound or with a bow, period. 80% of them have been inside 20 or less. So
yeah, and Cody and I kind of just set our stuff up for 25-yard and undershot. we don't really hunt field edges or anything like that too much, although this new property we have is pretty much field edge. And we do have one stand set up that is probably going to be about a 35-yard shot. It's just with the way the fence line's set up, there's no trees other than that one that we have, and we're just going to have to make it work. It's just, you're going to have to play the hand you're dealt,
Yeah, absolutely. Is it is it more of an open farm, like a CRP farm or something like that?
Yeah, it's there's a road on the west side of it, and then there's field ag, and then there's a fence, and the fence runs north and south right along with the road. So we just basically have that ag, and there's a few trees hit and miss on either side of the fence, and that's just kind of what it is. It's about, we haven't mapped it out, but we're just guessing 180, 200 acres. So it is what it is. We got a couple spots set up that, just like I said, we're aiming for that 20, 25-yard spot. But just like you said, most of them are, 20 and in. And that's, you're plenty confident there. You can hold if you need to, and still rip one off at 20 and be pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a pretty cool. That's the cool thing about trad too, is that if you shoot enough and you put your time in, and the cool thing about the situation I'm in is I have a couple buddies that shoot trad too, so we can rip arrows, together in the backyard, whether it's at their place or my place or whatever it is. And,
yeah.
And we do a lot of that. We do a lot of practicing in, kind of high tense situations where we got to hold a little longer than we want to, or we kind of make it fun, My girlfriend doesn't like this, but I'll put like some of her flowers and shit in front of the deer target that are growing there, and we'll like try and shoot through some of the flowers or shoot some of them off. God, I hope she never listens to this. But we'll do like random fun stuff like that, just to kind of get that
extra element.
Yeah, just to get that tension there, like maybe have one of them, just kind of play the situation of being the cameraman or whatever it may be. You just kind of calling you off and until the time's right to make the shot. But it's all fun, and it's definitely not going to make you a worse bow hunter by any means. All that stuff you do in the off season, but
no,
I don't know.
And now that you said that, I was on a 3D shoot last year, and they had the deer positioned quartering away, and there was like a 5-inch round tree on the front shoulder, so you had to really sneak it in there, and it does kind of amp that up, So
yeah, get your blood flowing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to do some stuff like that.
I mean, there's nothing negative that's going to come from it. I mean, it's only going to make you better because
might lose an arrow.
Lose a $12 arrow.
Yeah.
It's just money. No big deal.
That kind of brings me to another point. Now that you guys say $12 arrow, so my dad was a diehard trad guy, but he always shot wood arrows, and he built. I mean, there was a point in time when I think I was 5 or 6 maybe. And how I can remember this, I don't know. But my dad built a self bow out of hedge, which is Osage orange, for people who don't know that. It's a really gnarly tree that grows in the Midwest, and they don't get very tall, but they're super strong. And so they make great self bows. But anyway, so he built this bow out of hedge, and he built his own arrows out of some Port Orford cedar that he ordered, and then he actually built some broadheads out of spring steel that he dual beveled and sharpened up. Anyway, he killed a couple does late season with that, which was pretty cool. But yeah, so that's kind of, he used to do a real old school.
Yeah, that's super badass. Make everything right off the Richter and go out there and get it done. That's super, super rad.
Maybe when I'm about 6.
And he used to give me so much crap when I switched from shooting trad to shooting compounds with the carbon arrows and everything. And then when I started shooting trad again a season and a half ago when I killed that turkey. When I picked it back up again, he was still kind of giving me crap about the carbon arrows, and I was like, listen, Dad, they're either straight or they're broke.
Yeah, you can.
There's no way around it.
Can't bend carbon very well. Wood,
No,
I'm sure they can
and
get a hell of a bend in.
Oh yeah, I mean they flex like crazy out coming off a bow. It's pretty insane. If you ever like go to YouTube and type in a cedar arrow being shot off a trad bow, like literally just type that in. It is insane how much they flex off the riser. But I kind of now he shoots carbon arrows, so he can't give me any crap anymore because he realized that hey, they're either broke or they're straight.
Yeah.
But he still likes to bitch about how much they cost. But that's just him being an old man. So
that's just that generation.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on. This has been awesome. Killed an absolute legend with the trad bow, and by your trail cam picks, looks like you might do it again. So.
Yeah, I've got a few bucks this season that'll be pretty watch worthy, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, you guys will have to stay in touch and vice versa, and hopefully we can do her again. I'd love to come back on and
do another legend episode. That'd be
yeah.
awesome.
We're looking for the first
sweet.
repeat.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see what I can do. I can't promise nothing, but I'll try my best. So
that right there is what we call an epic legend hunt. And I said epic. Everybody calls me out for that word. It was epic.
Yes, it was.
Deal with it.
I've had a lot of fun here these last couple episodes.
Yeah. Number 4 recurve record book for Buckmaster.
BTR.
I mean, get out of here. How more epic can you get? Jacob, awesome guy to hang out with.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day I'll be in Iowa. Get to chase one of those Iowa deer around.
You're going to go to Iowa.
Why not?
I know.
Why not? You might as well. When we have 4 weeks vacation, you're going to say you're not
I need to
gonna
go somewhere where we can bait.
Got to get on the next level train.
There we go.
All right,
Full
you
steam ahead.
guys know what to do. Get out there. Get the damn cams up. If you ain't got your cams up, come on, man. Get them
in
up.
the game.
You know what I mean? Get them up. A guy at work said, I probably won't shoot my bow for another month. I was like, bro.
Perfect.
He shot a deer right in the shoulder and lost it last year, too. I'm like, come on, man.
All right.
Do the right thing. Get out there. Put the work in. Leave a legacy. Whitetail Legacy's out.